for the absence. It's been full on projects, obviously. Actually, literally laid down just now. I still got all my work pieces, like ruler and shit, just like, make sure you get everything precise, as I've been discussing. And just want to shout out to Seaborg 921. I've definitely been a bit full on lately. Like, I think the stress is getting to me fair bit, and like, I'm sure you're right. I'm glad you're like trying to educate yourself, on the world. Maybe you'll, come across some of my research on societal collapse and those kinds of worries. And if you do, I'm despite what I've said, I'm heaps always up for a chat. And to be honest, what you've said rings true somewhat. And it's a good point to be making, I guess. Just because you don't like what someone says to you, doesn't mean you then in turn have to go, I hate you, or you're probably like a hippie, that my words, that was a quote. I'll leave a reference towards the end, and it's just not necessary. And this is what I've been trying to call out, and so thank you, Seaborg, for waking me up to myself. It's like, come in, I'm just, sleeping the sleep of life, and you just like, oh, you dickhead, get a grip. So yeah, thanks for that. What I'd like to do is, just change the tone and be a bit more relevant. So I've gone back to the reviews, as everyone's needing a good review these days. So yeah, I've gone to the Smith's Crisps household name. Oh, you're gonna be like, oh, don't do that. We've seen it all before. We know Smith's is good. We know that if you just want to have a quiet eat and not get fucking zinged out on flavours and lose the ability to think because there's so much going on in your mouth, Smith's Crisp Originals Crinkle Cut, everyone knows that. And you're like, oh, well, why bother reviewing the Smith's company? And to those people I say, well, things have changed. Things have changed in the crisps market. You've got your Red Rock delis. I call them the boutique chips. It's like boutique beer. Everything's getting fruity. Oh, we want all these flavors. Oh my God, like more all the time, and that that pervades into the chip sphere of society. So yeah, you've got your Red Rock delis. What else? You got even your Pringles. They're going wild. And even Shapes Original, that's fine. They're still, I'll always support the Shapes Original being on the market. But you've got they come out with this nonsense. They're not even the original Shapes Crisp. It's like a different frying process, and they've got a completely different texture, and they're almost more like a ched, That's the Arnott's cheds, which are indeed a good biscuit, but like that's because they're being legitimate about what they are. We're a biscuit. You know, we're not a chip. We're not some like highly flavored, like overdone nonsense. And like you've got these like executives, and that's what they are. You know, it's these, you know, old men. I don't care like what color they are. Like, you know, people are old white men. I don't fucking care if they're white. That's not relevant. Like, yeah, being old, that's fucking boring, and like clearly that would impact their ability to make a decent decision. You know, you got some 60-year-old quack who hasn't even fucking, you know, had sex out of marriage, and you've got him like running a fucking chip company, and you know, he's essentially funneling his sexual energy into these chips, and because it's so repressed, you get these fucking, you know, what did he put? Vegemite shakes. You know, it's a 2 different companies. You don't do that. It is because Vegemite is craft, and shapes are arnots, and cheds are arnots. So, and like cheds were created clearly not by this executive, because he's going around putting all this shit in shapes. So that's why we respect, you know, a true, simple Aussie chip. And if you want it, and this is so this review is specific to the salt and vinegar shape. That was a Freudian slip, not shape, chip. And the difference is a shape is a baked, not fried product, as many biscuits are. So what you'll find is that they actually mush up a bunch of stuff like emulsifiers, your grain component, your flavors, you know, your binding agents, and they put them into a biscuit shape, and then they bake that biscuit shape. Whereas your Smith's crisp in this case, or any crisp, is actually a sliced piece of potato. In your Red Rock delis, you know, that just slice it and they don't even bother crinkling it. And that's what I find so disgusting about these boutique chips, is like they market themselves to be like, you know, something exotic, and they're just a flat cut chip. You know, they're not even crinkle cut, you know, whereas these are just a simple Aussie mum and dad kind of chip. And they actually go to the trouble of like creating a crinkle cut. You know, you can see that shape there, and actually I'll just get a sample. That's probably more elucidating. Yeah, so you can really see that. And so that provides 2 benefits. Texture, you know, when you're actually eating the chip, and you've got a bit more leeway in terms of how long you leave these open and how long you still maintain a crunch, because this crinkle cut nature of the chip actually creates texture through the like bonding of the cells, I guess you'd call them. You know, if you're like using a biological analogy, and when you bite on that, they compact against each other, and it's probably easier to show you. So listen to that. Oh, so if you can get that crunch out of a pack of Red Rock Jelly or similar baked fried chip after having been open for over 24 hours, and not to mention that's all that's in there. It's almost empty. They've been in there like that for over 24 hours. And the reason they're still crunchy is because of that crinkle cut nature. Fresher for longer. That's something we've heard before, and they don't even like market it as that. That's just how they are. There's no nonsense. You got your nutrients, as always. You got your fat, sugar, and sodium. So we're happy. And at this particular point in time, we've got a bit of a competition, or I guess it's a what do they call it? It's an illustration only. And what I like about this is that they get they have so much respect for their customers that they actually say thanks. You got all these, and it's really common in boutique beer companies, because as we were talking about executives, the boutique executives, they're those like frivolous, nonsense, like snooty types walking around thinking they're better than everyone. So they don't give a fuck. They just want to sell chips, and they want to get people hooked on these dodgy flavors, like imported flavors, like vinegar, salt, home-owned, grown, and eaten probably since Federation. Or earlier, even, because Federation wasn't even that long ago. So yeah, they're saying thanks, and you get like this chance to win $1 million, and I'm like, fuck yeah. Turns out it's like $1 million. It's like, look at the like transition. The graphic what I do want to shout out to the graphic designer. Look at this perfect layout, and like it just like sort of trail. It's like when someone's like talking and they trail off, so you can't hear the last parts of their sentence. So everything that they say loudly sounds sick, and then they're like, and you're like, oh, what? Yeah, okay, well, the first part sounded good, so like, yeah, I'm happy about that. And then you just accept it. So that's what they do here. They're like, 1 million. And then they're like, chance to spin, buy any blah, blah, blah. And then like, instructions. And then like, you're like, oh yeah, sick. And then you go and do it. And you forget that at the little bottom here, all this fucking nonsense, look at that. That's what I see when I look at the packet. It's just this blur. So you don't realise that you actually have no fucking chance. And all this fucking big writing on the packet is just a fucking whole load of consumerist nonsense. And they must have some deal with Woolies, because they're like $1.67 half price, and they've got this competition where you can win millions of dollars. It's like, the primitive part of my mind just could not resist. You've got gambling, danger, freedom, you've got flavour, sustenance, the will to survive, and you've got this like fucking, visual, just Shazam, and you've got, that element of, oh, well, you're saving as well, because it's half price. A less intelligent person would look at that and go, like, no, So I really enjoyed that competition. It was pretty fun. You go online and you like spin the little wheel, and it like goes around, and it's got all these options, and you can win like $1,000. That's max prize, and then you do go into the draw, but it's like, do those draws even ever get drawn? How would? Because everyone would just be like, oh well, I guess I didn't get the draw. Which person could be like, oh, I didn't win, so that must mean they didn't draw the draw. You're always going to be stuck in that mind loop. So, who's to know that you don't spin the wheel? Or like no one ever actually gets to spin the wheel. And you'll notice that like I've been eating these while I talk, and I'm sorry about that, but that's what salt and vinegar does. It is the most addictive flavour combination I think I've ever encountered. And I've spent 10 years, maybe 11 years, eating like a diabetic amount of sugar and like ridiculous amounts of fats and salts, for various reasons. And always happily, like I'm not sitting here going, oh my God, like my horrible life, I've had all this amazing flavour in my mouth, woe is me, like, I need to go and like go back to like, through my history of like being a child and like, where did I receive emotional abuse? Like, no. I experienced 10 years of sugar addiction happily. And I will do so for the next 10, 20 years until fucking the world's over. I'm not going to sit here not living out like my destiny as a, confectionery consumer just because, like, you've got like less living length, and you've probably inhibited a lot of your like growth or whatever because you haven't been, getting the essential nutrients, nutrients. Have you ever heard that word nutrients? Like, what is a nutrient? Is air a nutrient? Because it sustains us, is water a nutrient? Because we drink it all the time, is beer a nutrient? Because everyone drinks it all the time, it just comes back to what I've said since like whenever I started speaking is don't worry about it. Let everyone else worry about it for you. Let everyone else judge you. Don't judge yourself. Everyone else, there's heaps of people out there that will do that for you. Just don't bother. Just do what you do. Eat your fucking chips, drink your beers. And that's why I'm, back to Seaborg, do it. Like, study your social sciences, be like an environmentalist. Thanks for growing my potatoes, So we'll end on that happy note, I guess. Like, it's good it didn't devolve at all, and I'm pretty happy with that. So just let me know what you think of the relevance of what I've said. That'd be great. Thanks.